Hi, I'm Richie Foley. That's my friend Virgil Hawkins up there, and we are Avatar The Last Podcasters. Today we are going to talk about the Day of Black Sun. Not quite the episode that we were hoping to have, but we still have some hopes for that idea, and maybe next week. But in the meantime, we still got a killer episode for you here. It's actually a two-parter. It's Book 3 Fire, episodes 10 and 11, and we decided to put them together because they pretty much go together. They're kind of dependent upon one another. And they're very good, first of all. And then second of all, obviously, it's still not like a run-of-the-mill day here on the podcast. We got all fancied up. I don't want to talk about that yet. We'll segue in. We'll segue into the runway show.
Save that.
Save
into
it.
that.
Save it. No, that's too strong. That's too strong. Chris, first and foremost, how has your week been?
It's been fine. Nothing. It's been fine. I haven't been doing that many videos lately. Like I really haven't made a video in over a month. Like I don't count these podcasts. There's really not a lot of effort on my part. Really, it just feels like a phone call that we have once a week or something.
These podcasts require like 5% total of the effort of one of your videos from both of us combined. It's like 5 to 10%.
Yes, that is actually true.
I think I was trying not to be too extreme. I wanted it to be an accurate number. I think I nailed it.
But even though I haven't created a single video in a while, like I released the Four Masters video almost a month ago. Yeah, a month ago. And I actually created that longer than that. I was just saving it for the 15th anniversary. So it's been a really long time since I made a video. So getting back into that. But despite that, my channel's still doing really well. Relatively speaking. My video, which is weird. So some channel's doing really good lately. So usually I average about 60 to 100 new subscribers a month. Really, I aim for 30 because that's like, all right, one a day. That's good growth. But recently my video about must be getting recommended to a lot of people because the views on that has been like crazy relative to my other views. Like it's gonna reach 100,000 in like the next day or so.
That's awesome.
And it was at like 30 a week ago. So yeah. So and also any new subscribers, thank you for finding the channel and subscribing.
The question: do you think it has anything to do with people being locked in their own houses?
I don't think so.
Just a couple of like timely shares and a timely algorithm catch.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, it's kind of exponential, right? Like your channel growing in subscribers, and then if that video gets shared at the right time when the video is growing, then it's going to show up at the top every time somebody goes toward your channel, for example.
Yeah,
I can see it. Yeah, it makes sense. Well, congratulations. 100,000 has to be either like your biggest or very close to your biggest, right?
Yeah, it's definitely my biggest. My biggest before this was the casting video, which was at about 45,000, and it passed that.
People ate that casting video up like right out of the gate. That one was really cool to see. It went up really fast, really early. I felt like.
Yeah, and it's still doing relatively well. But yeah, it's everyone. I'm getting a lot of good comments on, a lot of good conversation. So I'm glad that other people are kind of finding my channel, which just kind of proves that YouTube it's part luck, part skill and preparation. But you kind of hope you can get something that can resonate
Patience
at all
too.
to people and get caught up in the YouTube algorithm. It's a mystical thing. It's kind of like
that's funny. Like coming from a planner, like I feel like we could hone in on its details at least. Maybe not exacts, but I feel like we could hone in on its details if we really tried. I'm sure people have. I'm sure there are very smart people out there with the internet who have uncovered the algorithm. But I'd say patience though too. Like there's not one hit wonders doing huge things on YouTube. Like all the people that, at least all the big people that I watch. I mean, we're talking hundreds of videos.
yeah.
So yeah, patience. Well, congratulations. Glad to hear it, and glad to hear you got another one going up. I would have liked to think that we would have had like a nice Comic-Con recap next week or something. It probably would have just been within the podcast, but that's not going to happen. That's okay. You know what? I'm getting ahead of myself though. That's too. I brought the segue in too fast. I'm not ready for that yet. This weekend was supposed to be Comic-Con weekend though, and now since we have it free and not having sports is killing my soul, I'm hosting and I've been badgering people all week because I'm going to simulate an NCAA tournament using the pinnacle of basketball simulation technology, which is College Hoops 2K5 on the PlayStation 2. And then I've been selling brackets, been making a bracket pool for the simulation. And so the winner just gets a small little trophy. The losers all get to feel good for donating to Harvesters, Community Food Network. Hopefully going to parents that are trying to figure out how to feed their kids while their kids are unexpectedly home from school forever now. And I think we're at like $400 already, so that's really cool.
Holy crap! Wow,
yeah,
good job, man.
$400, but only like 12 or 13 brackets. Like, there's been a couple of people that just gave money, but then they're like, "Hey, it's nice you're doing a good thing, but your idea is dumb. Here's some money." And then other people that, like, I feel like gave money and then did a bracket just for like ceremony's sake. So they gave too much money and didn't fill out multiple brackets or whatever. But yeah, we're almost at 400. And I'm still waiting on a handful of other people, so I feel like my goal, I'm going to try to get to 450 before I actually do the stream. And then during the stream, which I'm going to do it all on Twitch, it'll start Saturday morning at 9 Central. It's going to last like 27 hours is my estimate. And then since I don't actually have to play the games, I'll probably like schmooze it out there onto Twitter and Instagram and try to just raise direct donations also. So maybe we'll get a few more bucks there.
Yeah, and I can't personally say that Harvesters. I've volunteered there. I volunteer there every single year for Martin Luther King Day of Caring. And usually, I end up making these things called psych packs, where we create these not lunch. We just create these foods to give to students for during school, so they can take over the weekend, so they can have something to eat over the weekend if they're like mild hunger. There's an actual term for it. Hunger inefficiency, something like that. Hunger.
I don't know exactly what term you're talking about. I do anyway. I know what you're referring to. I just can't think of the term.
Yeah, so we pack up these little plastic bags with cereal, with oatmeal food, applesauce, bottled water, juice, and just a lot of essential things that they need for the weekend. If they don't have that opportunity to eat, so I know that, I've worked at Harvesters. I know that money goes to a really good cause.
And they're very efficient with their money. That's big to me. Not that it sounds bad to say there are bad charities, but there are charities that aren't as good or don't stretch your dollar as far, and they definitely do. And then having worked there, like, it's a very efficient process, so that's really cool. One thing that did make me sad is I was kind of spawning this idea, and I was going back and forth between like Harvesters and the Children's Miracle Network, and I was leaning Harvesters because of the timeliness of it. And then Tyreek Hill donated like 6,000 meals, and that popped up in the news, and so one of my friends is like, "Oh, you're doing something like this?" I was like, well, not like wait a minute. Shut up Tyreek Hill. And then Travis Kelce gave like 12,000, and then somebody else. It was crazy. So Harvester's probably busy right now.
Yeah,
that's all right. They can always use our money. I thought about accepting like food also, but logistically, that's much harder to do. Like, you can't donate food on Venmo. So I was like, we'll just give them our money, and it'll go to kids most likely, and that makes me feel good. So if you're interested, I will probably be talking about that on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook over the weekend while I'm bored watching a college basketball simulation. And then finally get to rescheduled Comic-Con. Chris, can you remind me, they did pick dates to reschedule? Is that accurate?
Yes, so Planet Comic-Con, which takes place in Kansas City, which they say is the biggest Comic-Con in the region, although saying region is really vague. Really good Comic-Con. Like, they have great guests there.
Say that region could
but
be
that was
like
originally
St. Louis,
scheduled for
Wichita, Kansas City, and that's it. I don't know.
Yeah. It was originally scheduled for this weekend that we're recording this. It was rescheduled to August 14th through the 16th. And they also went ahead and scheduled next year's for April 16th through the 18th. I'm guessing they already scheduled that just in case the August one falls through. And it's like, all right, well, we already have a date set up that we can kind of aim to. So if either one happens, I'm guessing that the second one will happen. If not, things have gone a little more dire. I could see the third. I could see the first one, the one in August, not happening, but hopefully it
No, the
does.
one in April, you mean?
Uh, yeah. Well, I would say I could see the one in August happening, but I won't be surprised if it got canceled.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would actually be very surprised if, given the current nature of things, if we're like cleared up enough by April. But you know, it's nice to have something to look forward to, and you know, if it's there, we're gonna go, and it's gonna be fun. So that's good. I was glad to see them put a date down, and it sounds like I think you mentioned they got basically everybody back for that date, so that's really cool.
Yeah, they say.
Yeah, yeah, I think my gut instinct would say it won't be in April, just given the current situation. I've already had a couple of work meetings in May get canceled just precautionarily, but I think that's more the direction people are leaning. So we'll see. Keep them fingers crossed. And either way, August is good too. August is not quite football season, so I'm still free. Once you get into football season, stuff gets messier. Okay, well that was really my segue into the costumes, into the alternate personalities. We determined that since we didn't get to wear them, and that we might not get to wear them in April, we'll see. We're just gonna wear them tonight.
August.
And we will.
No, I meant. I'm sorry. I meant April was next year's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, God,
I thought you
no,
said
they would
they
not
had.
be able to do that.
I see what you're saying. Okay, no, it all makes much more sense to me now. I thought they just moved it back.
A couple,
Like,
couple weeks,
6
yeah.
weeks, and I was like, that seems silly, but I appreciate this. All makes so much more sense to me now. Oh, August, I would like to think that August, at least, that seems reasonably hopeful. I'll cross both fingers for that. That could happen.
No, okay.
Yeah. And I'm so clear now. I feel I'm in the know. But either way, we decided to wear the costumes. So as you can see, I am Richard Foley, and my wife sewed this beautiful sweater. We tried the yellow hair, and it did not work. So if you have a solution, I hate wigs. Wigs, for whatever reason, they give me a headache. I don't know why. Just a little itchy. Probably just in my head or on my head. But the blue glasses were easy, although Chris pointed out that I do from the head up. It's like Backstreet Boy material with the blue glasses and bad frosty tips. I am wearing khakis too. I won't bother standing up because they're just khakis, but I'm also wearing the khakis.
Sound like Jake from State Farm.
Yes,
wearing khakis.
Well, it's pretty. They're pretty like 90s khakis. Like they've got like a little metal loop thing on them and way too many pockets to be reasonable. So they're not classy. It's Jake from State Farm khakis. That guy's got better taste than I do in khakis.
And then I am going as Static again, or some of you know him wrongfully, as Static Shock. The show's called Static Shock. I don't get mad when people call him Static Shock, but
I'm glad because I call him Static all the time. Just refer to him instead.
Yeah, Static is his name. Some people wrongfully call him Static Shock, which it's fine. Some people get bent out of shape about it, which that's fine. That's their choice. I'm like, hey, the character. You know what? That's cool. But I'm going as Static again. Went as it last year, and it was really fun going as him. I made a couple updates to my costume this year. Added these gauntlets, which I did not have last year. His look in the cartoon does not have like these gauntlets. And I bought a new hat, a new Malcolm X hat. And I bought new glasses and a new mask and new pants. Didn't really need to buy new pants, but I wanted to buy new pants. I just like this little pants. Yellow streak on them that just kind of added more of the yellow accent to the costume. But so my look is kind of an amalgam of different looks. There's the hat and the gauntlets from his original comic look, and then also mixed in with his more original, with his TV show look, which has like the blue jacket and hood and things like that.
Oh, sorry, I interrupted.
No, keep going. I was done.
Is the original comic like a little grittier or like older age than the TV show?
Yeah, it's a
more mature.
It's a little grittier. I mean, the TV show handles a lot of mature content, but not nearly as mature as the comic book does. Like there's one issue where there's a very controversial issue of the comic book Static, which the people at Milestone butt heads with people at DC. there's a cover of it where Static is making out with his girlfriend. He's holding some condoms, right? Which isn't that bad. They're just making out. There's like no, it's not that sexual, especially
we,
compared to other comics.
we've seen TV
But
and other comics and movies. Like,
yeah,
I get it.
but Denny O'Neil, who was the editor of the comics at the time, was like, no, you can't do that cover. And Dwayne McDuffie, rest in peace, Dwayne McDuffie, he was like, no, I want to do that cover. Like, we should do this cover because one thing, it's fine, like especially compared to other comics which show women in the most grotesque forms and the most obscene forms. Like here we're showing teenagers. Teenagers do actually have sex in real life, but they're actually having, and actually they're not even having sex on the comic issue. They're just making out, but he's holding condoms. Well, we're just showing that, hey, you need to practice safe sex.
I have a feeling that she's probably wearing more clothes than certain comic book villainesses and comic book heroines.
Without a doubt. So the comic was a lot more mature. That's like one of the main villains in the show, Hot Streak. He's in the comic, but he's like really racist in the comic. Not that the show handled racism in really mature ways, but that character in the show wasn't like blatantly racist the way he is in the comic.
But Chris, he's a firebender. He's obviously racist.
That's true. Yeah, we all know firebenders are. Kidding.
I would, though, I really dig the Malcolm X hat. I would kind of love to see it if he walked out on the TV show with the Malcolm X hat. And then I was like, well, maybe that's, like, not that it's too mature for most audiences, but it'd be a more mature look, I suppose. I had another, I just had a comment is that I've made it most of the way. I think I'm halfway through season 3 of the TV show. And I actually like it. I like it less when Richie gets powers. I prefer Richie just like pre-powered up. I just like he can be a normal nerd and a normal sidekick and good. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with it after that. I just between the two.
He didn't have powers in the comic books at all. He was just Richie, which I could give or take. There's a couple of differences between the comic and the show. The big difference I think is that Static doesn't have the same relationship he does with Frida. Frida's like the kind of the redhead girl in the show. In the comic, like they're like best friends. Like that is his best friend that he confides in. Like she knows that he's Static and everything. But in the show they made it Richie, which Richie is still one of his really good friends, but it's not like the best friend. And also one of the biggest differences is that in the show he only has a father. His mother was killed. But in the comic, he has both parents. And that was kind of a point of contention when the show came out because Dwayne McDuffie was like, well, I like to show like a fully functional black family, like have both parents in the household and everything. You don't see that. It's one of the negative stereotypes of it. But then I can go both ways with it because I love the backstory of his mom and everything. That's one of my favorite episodes. I'm not sure if you got into it yet, where he goes back in time.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, I thought you were talking about the one where they're having the memorial service. No, I've not seen the Back in Time one yet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one, too.
No, the memorial service has been one of my favorite ones so far. Hit me pretty hard.
Yeah. The show can get really deep sometimes. I really love the episode Jimmy, where that kid brings a gun to school, which is it's profound. Like it's relevant
pretty wild
to
see
today.
that in a kid's TV show for sure.
Yeah. I sat down with my daughter and watched the episode. We had a really good conversation afterwards.
It's probably better to have it like come after an episode of a cartoon than to introduce it out of the blue. Like, how much does it mean to your kids if you're just like, hey, Kinsey, don't bring guns to school? Like, all right, Dad, but you sound like the crazy one right now. So, having the cartoon to start the conversation, that might be a good thing. More organic that way. But, yeah, like I said, nothing against powered up Richie. I just prefer, like, they have some nice tension when he doesn't have powers, and there's some of the jealousy work in there, and I kind of dig it.
No, that's a good point.
But, that's the only opinion that I feel entitled to have as somebody who's very not versed in in comic books, and has only watched the series most of the way through one time, so limited amount of opinions to give. That's all I've got on the pre-episode goodies. Is there anything else? I know you had a list of things you wanted to talk about, but I think they were in episode things.
Only one thing. I can go ahead and get to this now. We have a new review on iTunes, so that's really cool. I
Awesome.
like getting those. Where'd it go? I just had it up, which that frustrates me. Okay, here it is. Okay, this is from John Kuhn 303. It was on 314, so fairly recently. 5-star review. So thank you for that. It just titled Aang's Trip. As a listener, because we were talking about how Aang was tripping balls
It's
in the
totally
last
tripping balls.
episode.
Yeah.
Uh, he said, as a listener who has tripped balls, I can say I've never hallucinated my pets talking and anime battling, but hey, to each their own. Love the pod, keep it up. So
Oh, that's
thanks.
nice.
I think we're having a conversation about how maybe I was talking about how I've never been high or tripped balls
Hmm.
before, so I'm not sure how it was. So good to know we have another perspective on that.
Yeah, we need that outside. You know, it's funny because I was just getting this stuff sprayed on my hair and it just smells like spray paint. And I'm like hiding under a towel, like you cover your face with a towel to keep it from getting in your eyes and on your face. And I thought,
Yeah.
we use any more of this spray paint and I'm not going to be able to like have a functional podcast. So it's a little crazy. Hey, thanks for that good review. That was very nice. And sorry that I laughed at that guy's review the other week. I feel bad. I laughed at it really hard and now I feel silly. So that was kind of mean. Because we appreciate all reviews. So thank you very much.
Other than that, I don't think I had any other thing else to talk about except for
Excellent.
those within the episode.
Excellent. Well, in that case, let's get to the episode. The first one is called The Invasion. And well, that's all I got to say about that. The first one, part one, The Invasion.
Yeah, so the invasion begins. It's interesting because before in the previous episode, Aang was all anxious over it, and now this episode, Sokka really is. So that's really interesting to see. I think these two episodes are really good Sokka and Zuko episodes. Usually, the B plot of the story is kind of Zuko's story mirroring Aang's story, but I think here it's really Zuko's story mirroring Sokka's story, and I really love that because I think I love those two characters and their friendship and how their two stories mirror each other. I mean, though you kind of don't notice it, but they really do. But this episode, it's really a standout of there. So Sokka is freaking out, and Aang tries to give him some words of encouragement. Sokka has his dad. Yeah, him and his dad formed this plan a long time ago when they met up after Aang was shot by lightning between those two seasons. And we'll meet at Chameleon Bay. He has dad go and recruit people for him. So we get the swamp benders back. We get um, the boulder and the hippo comes back. And I do love that Toph interaction with them. It's really good.
Well, in the so Top's interaction with the wrestlers and then the swamp benders, is I think it's Bato's like makes a comment about wearing pants or something like that. I was like, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. You should wear
Yeah.
pants to the invasion.
Yeah, the plant bender. Pants is an illusion. And so is
That's
death.
what he says. Yes, I knew there was something kind of strange that he came out with, but pants is an
You know, which
illusion.
is interesting because death is definitely an illusion in the world of Avatar. They don't dive into it a lot when it comes to other people that's not the Avatar, but no, no one's spirit necessarily dies, except for Unalaq's that time that Korra just killed them.
He kind of earned it.
Yeah, no, he did. Gosh, I love that. I love that episode, and I love the. All right, quick sidestep here. Korra, after she kills Unalaq or Unavatu, she apologizes to Eska and says, "I'm so sorry. You know, I didn't want that to happen to your father and stuff." And Eska and Desna are just like, "Why are you sorry?" Like, oh, Korra seems to think that we feel bad that our father was killed. I mean, he did try to kill us or he just didn't care about our well-being previously. No, but one of us does have to tell mother. And like that was pretty much it. But my original point being is that, like, yeah, death is an illusion. People die, they get reincarnated into the next person. But with normal people, it doesn't matter or it's not significant because, A, you can't prove that that person was reincarnated to another person. And also, who cares? No one cares who the cabbage guy was, who was reincarnated into.
I mean, I kind of do, but whatever, it's fine.
Yeah. Did you mean to have nightmares there? I don't remember anyone having nightmares, or is that from the previous episode?
What was that there for? Maybe it was a holdover. No, it very well could have been a holdover from the previous episode on accident.
Oh, okay.
I'll keep thinking while you keep going on forward. Nobody has any nightmares in this episode, right?
No, I don't think so.
I think actually Aang wakes up feeling like real chipper and everything. Like he wakes up and they're all kind of surprised he's ready to go. No, my bad. I don't know what that's there for. I could have accidentally left it there.
Oh, and then when Aang does wake up, Toph is like, "Oh, are you gonna go into Avatar state?" And he's like, "No. When Azula shot me down, she broke off my connection to the cosmic energy in the universe and everything." Which is interesting because we don't really think about the Avatar state in terms of like a cosmic thing. It is like, and it's depicted as such, especially when Aang is trying to master it. But it's just kind of an interesting concept of it. I think it's more so interesting because I tried to tie Avatar with the Dragon Prince and how there are like star-crossed elves and like they're actually it's kind of unclear what their powers are, but they're kind of connected to the cosmos and everything. When I was trying to do that like video of how the Dragon Prince takes place after Avatar, I had to kind of reconcile the bendings principles to the six arcanums of the Dragon Prince, and I was like, oh well, the Avatars connect to cosmic energy. You know, this could be that, and other people maybe learn how to connect to it. I'm making fun of myself. See, I make fun of more people than just make fun of myself also.
That's right. I called myself a Backstreet Boy earlier. We're humble here.
Yeah.
I suppose there was a time when calling yourself a Backstreet Boy was actually like high praise. Sorry, that's unrelated.
Yeah. So they prepare for battle. Sokka tries to get the battle plans, and he's just too nervous. He can't do anything. And I love how he's just like, he's going over the battle plan, battle strategy with everyone that he came up with his father. And he's just fumbling all over himself, which, gosh, I remember my first presentation and it felt like something similar to that. I'm just like, none of this is going right. But I mean, it went fine. I'm sure it was just a training thing. No one cares about how bad trainings go. And his father, before that, he's like, let me start. Oh, his father says, Sokka, start from the beginning. He's like, okay. Me and Katara met Aang, and then he goes through. It's like, and I didn't like Aang at first, but then we grew to really love each other. And then I met Suki. Suki dressed me as a girl, and she kissed me. And then so. It's like Sokka, wait.
He's like, all right, hold on.
Yeah. And his dad takes over and just really inspires everybody. Like, hey, today's the day that we're going to defeat the Fire Nation. Which I really love all of this prep. Like it feels like that grand battle that's about to happen.
And even the first time watching the episode through, I kind of remember those feelings of feeling like it was too soon. Which I think, I suppose that's what it wants you to feel, right? Like you don't know where it feels like it's coming up. How are they going to stretch this out into 10 more episodes? I just remember feeling like, hey, this is happening really fast.
Yeah, I will say on my first time watching it, I mean, we all knew, I say we, internet knew that the Day of Black Sun was coming, that it was going to be like midway through the season. So I legitimately thought that they were going to defeat the Fire Nation by that time. They just had like some extra story to do, like to wrap stuff up, like maybe Zuko's mom, or just extra episodes, whether it's filler or anything. And so I did go into this thinking like, all right, they're about to defeat the Fire Nation. Did you have that same feeling?
Well, since I watched them all in a row, and so I knew that there's going to be 20 episodes in the season, I don't have great, like what you would call intuitive instincts. And so it was more like, I was more frustrated than anything that was happening. So not so much thinking about what's coming after, more angry. It's like, this isn't supposed to be happening right now. Why is this happening so soon? I'm not ready. Aang's not ready. You know he's got to learn firebending first, right? Like, he's not going to learn firebending after.
That's a good point.
And so I was more, not angry is too strong a word, but frustrated. But then, again, by nature of binging, it was only a matter of 2 hours later or what have you when I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I chilled out.
Yeah.
But to me, I couldn't possibly guess what I was thinking might come next because I don't have that kind of great predictive thought process all the time.
Yeah. So then before they get ready for battle, we do see Aang shaving his head, which is kind of interesting. In the commentary, they're like, ugh, every time I watch this, I just cringe when I see Aang shave his head because he shaves it with no cream or anything.
I know,
and Michael DiMartino is like bald. Yeah, like he just takes a rock, just like shh, shh, shh. Like, he has to have razor bumps.
And I get the worst razor burn with like good modern technology and the best pre-shave and post-shave, and I still look like a high school kid when I'm done. And Aang just taking a rock.
Yeah, I don't shave with razors anymore. I just shave with clippers or with whatever it is. Not a straight.
I do the like electric trimmer, so it's never a clean shave. But I hate the clean shave, so I just do the trimmer because I'm pathetic. But that's okay. I got sensitive skin. I'm a sensitive guy.
At the same side, on the flip side of that, you do see a lot of quiet moments with Zuko, and I bring up Zuko because of the hair. Like this show like is weirdly has a thing about hair. Like all throughout the show, hair is a constant like sign of something. So Aang is shaving his head, like he's ready to fully embrace being the Avatar again. Chunk the Avatar's back. And then next is that scene, it's Zuko taking off his crown and his hair just flows down as if he's like, this is not the crown that I'm not here for this crown. Like I have more important things to do.
I think you've mentioned it before, so I'm kind of stealing it from you. So I apologize. But even the way, like a lot of the best animation that is done, I think is involving the hair. And for like another example, I'll go to my favorite, Akira Toriyama. Like his stuff doesn't do this. His is almost the opposite. Like the hair is always like a static, singular like chunk. Pun intended. No, pun actually not intended. But it doesn't ever really move a whole lot or animate in games and the TV shows or anything. Like it's pretty much where it is. And so I always appreciate that level of detail in Avatar because it probably is very tedious, I would imagine, to animate Katara's flowing hair.
Dragon Ball Z, I feel like used to pay attention to hairs a little bit. I mean, it's still like Goku's hair is still like it's not moving that much. But I just remember, and you don't know, you might not know much about this, but because you follow Dragon Quest and I follow Dragon Ball Z, both Akira Toriyama, but different. Mm-hmm. There's a Goku versus Vegeta fight. The first one, it's animated really well, and there's a moment there where they're just like facing each other, and like the wind is blowing, and Goku's hair blows in the wind, and you see it like it blows actually in the wind, even the oblong shapes, and so does Vegeta's, and like the new Dragon Ball Z just doesn't. The further they went along, and in Dragon Ball Super, like the animation just isn't as detailed as that, and that's really missing.
In Dragon Quest XI, I was very excited because it was new and it's the first new one we had in ages. And it did look really nice. Like the colors is very striking. Very good use of colors and contrast. But then the hair is like flat. Like it's like two-dimensional hair. And so it waves and stuff, but it looks like paper. And I kind of got like unrealistically upset about it. It's like, this is Dragon Quest XI. It is 2018 or whatever it was. And our hair looks like paper. I was very upset. But it's okay. I'm over it now. It took me 1.5 years, but I'm over it.
Well, that's good.
I know. I forgive slowly.
Also, real quick, Zuko, after he takes down his hair, he goes to a picture of his mother and says, like, I've done bad things in the past, but today I'm going to make amends for it. One thing I really love, Dante Bosco, I think, possibly next to both the actors who play Uncle Iroh, both Mako and Greg Baldwin, he's probably the best, besides he's probably the best voice actor. Like, he carries so much weight with Zuko oftentimes, especially in this moment and in certain scenes. and also other times he can really get really high with the anger and stuff. He's a really terrific voice actor, and I think his ability works really well in a lot of subtle moments. I don't think a lot of voice actors can carry these subtle moments as well as he does.
Toss Azula into that group too. It's the bad guys getting all the great voice acting. I don't remember her name. I know we've talked about her before, but
Gray DeLisle Griffin.
Yeah, and
yeah,
I wouldn't say she has a lot of range. Like, she sounds fairly similar in all the stuff she does, but I don't know if range is the right word. She sounds frequently like a similar character, but she can throw any emotion out of that, just perfection, and it's always very dynamic and interesting. Like, you just want to listen to whatever she's saying. So throw her into that group, and you got a really good group of bad guy voice actors.
Yeah, definitely. Little tidbits. I was watching the commentary on it, and it's with Mike and Brian. I think this one had Jeremy Zuckerman. No, it didn't have Jeremy Zuckerman. It had the sound effects guy on it. But anyway, when Sokka was giving the speech, Haru mentions Sokka mentions Haru after he's like goes and blah blah blah, like, Haru grew a mustache. And like in it, you see Haru doing this, like, he noticed my mustache. Like, they comment on it, and but they say like, oh, there's a really good job acting there, and like Brian was saying like, oh, when I mean acting, I mean two things. I mean the Giancarlo Volpe, who directed this episode. I mean how he acted with the direction, and also the voice acting, which is interesting because I don't think of acting in that sense, but I mean it is like when you're the animator, when you're the director of, you are acting out these characters, and also the voice actors providing a whole voice to it. I just thought it was interesting that he kind of sees it that way.
I certainly would have never thought of it that way until being told that.
Yeah. Also, we do get a quick shot of Iroh in prison talking to the prison guard, and that prison guard is voiced by Serena Williams. We mentioned before, I forget what episode, but Serena Williams is a fan of the show. She happened to be at Nickelodeon Studios one day, and they have a gym there, and Brian and Sifu Kisu was doing some reference work for a fight scene, and like they were sweating, and they had like plastic swords and stuff, and she was like, oh hey, that's a good workout. He was like, oh thank you. Like he felt like it was a compliment he didn't deserve, but he fully loved because it was from Serena Williams.
I think if Serena Williams tells you you're working out well, like you take that to the bank.
Yeah. Yeah. So Serena Williams, one of the greatest athletes of all time, voiced a character in Avatar: Last Airbender. Who is the nice guard to Iroh, who brings him sweet little treats.
And I like how, is it now or is it a little bit later when Iroh tells her, like the way he hints, he's like, I think you're coming down with something.
Yeah, it's this episode. He's like, you should go home early today.
I forget how he says it, but like kind of politely, and then she doesn't pick up on it right away. He's like, it would be better
like,
if you were not here later.
He's like, listen, I'm not trying to beat you up, but I will.
You're welcome. And then she pulls out a tennis racket and it's like, no, just kidding.
You can't take me. And she just spins her racket.
She's batting fireballs back at him. I forget the guard's name, but it's kind of a touching scene, or a touching set of interactions rather.
Yeah. Yep. So they prepare for battle, and they get up in these. They do get the Mechanists. The Mechanists created these new ships, which is like perfectly designed for waterbenders because they can shoot torpedoes and stuff, and they can use the water bending in there. So really. What was one point that I was getting to? Oh, he built the ships. They all get in them, and they go and they take on the Fire Nation army, which is a decent enough battle. Like I
he feel designed like the Earthbender things too, right? They're like the like crawlers, they're like
caterpillar kind of tank thingies.
Yeah. And so the Teo, I forget what his name is.
Teo's the son.
Teo's the son, right? Okay, so his dad, the Mechanist, getting getting lots of good influence in this episode, because both of those things seem very effective in breaking through the outer Fire Nation defenses pretty easily-ish.
Yeah. And that's kind of then so they go through the gates of Azulon, which is really cool. Honestly, it's a great design of those fiery gates just rising up. And then they break in after that with their submarine things, and they get into the Fire Nation, kind of that main island, and they just kind of work their way interiorly.
There's several like levels of walls that are manned, a couple towers that get taken down. I don't want to short it. It's too hard to describe in detail, but I don't want to short it either. They do a really nice job of showing like one group taking down one tower, and then Sokka and maybe Hakoda or Toph or somebody goes and takes down the other, and breaking through all these barriers, making it look really good, but also intentionally. I think you're supposed to feel like it's too easy, and I think they do a good enough job of balancing those two things before they arrive at the palace, which, much to their dismay, is empty.
So Aang goes ahead, and he wants to go face the Fire Lord. He's actually in the Fire Nation, in the throne room, which is like, as an Avatar fan watching this, you already think that, all right, the last battle probably will be at the Fire Nation, at the throne room, because I thought to myself, like, well, of course it's going to be there. That's where the Fire Lord is at. That's their destination eventually.
And it's kind of that bit of irony where then, like, because Aang would have to be the aggressor kind of for that to happen, or the instigator, maybe not the aggressor.
Yeah.
So, I think you're expecting that. I don't know. Again, I'm still picturing college me like getting upset, like, he can't be there already. There's got to be more guards. Where is everybody? You know, Aang kind of feels the same way. So we leveled.
Oh gosh. Okay, wait. I forgot to say. Okay, in between these fights, right? There's different stages, as we talked about before. There were different walls. They get to one kind of checkpoint to where they're like, all right, this is where we separate. Team Avatar comes together.
Oh yeah. People would have been
everything.
All 10 of our fans would have been really sad if we had forgotten.
Yeah, or at least 5 of them would have been.
I skipped over it. I'll take the heat because I jumped through the barrier scene too quickly.
So Team Avatar have a quick little powwow, right? Because this is the Team Avatar, and they say goodbye. Toph and Sokka leave, and the thing I love about this moment, this one little spot, is that Katara knows this moment is big. She feels like she has to have a one-on-one with Aang. Aang feels like he needs to have a one-on-one with Katara. And in the commentary, before the moment starts, Brian is like, all right, in this scene will anger 50% of our fans. which is so...
The like, wrong 50%. Come on, fans. I'm just kidding.
Which I weirdly find relatable. Not that I would ever put myself on the same level of Mike and Brian, right? They created this universe from scratch. But like, I get when you make a statement about something and people just don't like it or they hate it, which is fine. They're very open, and I respect their opinions to hate those things. But like, it happens.
And I think 50 is a fair guess in this case. I think 50 is fair.
He even says like, it was like Zutarians. They're fierce, and they're
they are. Yeah, and you know, I credit them for that. I don't hold that against them. I hold that as an excuse to respect them for their fierceness. But they're wrong, because this happened right here in this episode. Canon.
Which is funny because I think he's being generous in the commentary, because he says like, hey, Zutari fan, like, yeah, Katang is canon and everything, but you see here in this moment, she's kind of unclear of her feelings here for a minute, because Aang kisses her, and she does lean into the kiss.
Trying to feed him a little bit.
Yeah, she does lean into the kiss, but afterwards she kind of gets this look on her eye of like, what, just happen. Like
She's
she
like,
just
ew, I just kissed like a
it's really
12-year-old
subtle.
boy. Ew. Or whatever. I don't know how old he is.
But I think that was a really good moment. I think especially for Aang, and like Aang was finally able to, like, this is his last. You don't know what's happening after this. Like he could die. He's going to get the Fire Lord.
And this is his. This is where he breaks off. And I don't know. It's still sort of surprising me even here that they let him go alone. But that gives the kiss gives it like the air of finality. That like, yeah, no, they're really split, and he's really gonna try to do this thing solo. And
Yeah, I mean he almost has to go alone because like he has to
it's got
get
my
there in
heart
time
beating.
for the eclipse. And I mean he's way faster than everybody else. He doesn't have to go up the mountains and everything.
And he's got a glider now with a candy slot in it now,
Oh
thanks to
yeah,
the
yeah.
mechanist. Don't forget
Yeah.
the candy slot.
So this part of the episode, Toph is really kind of not utilized that much. Katara and Sokka go with their dad to go take down the corners thing. I can't think of the right
Like the corner
battlements. I don't
turret,
know.
the tower,
Yeah,
the.
towers. That's a fine enough
I'm
word.
saying towers. I want to say it's like a turret or something, but I don't know I don't know
Yeah.
terms.
Which is so this moment. So like they split up. Hakoda's like, you two take that one, I'll take this one. Which if I was like divvying up the power, I'd be like, hey Katara, you go take this one. And them two go take the other one. Because to me, Katara is the most capable of them. But as a
Like she
father, right,
can.
you're like, no, you two look after each other. I can look after myself. Like as
That's
a
the
father, that's
right
what you
dad thing
do.
to do. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it. But I would totally send like Katara. You can handle that one in a minute or two, right? Like just meet us back here. I've seen you
Yeah.
slice things apart with that water. I know it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, you just slice some metal with that, if I'm not mistaken. I do love how he seemed a lot more capable with the sword. Like he's been practicing. So I like that. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention that one thing about Sokka that I wish they would add more to him is like on a more of an arsenal. Because like you see Hakoda utilizing like bombs and everything. Like I think it would be really cool if Sokka had like more of a whole arsenal of weapons. Like he already has the sword, he already has the boomerang. He doesn't use the club as much anymore. But I don't know, just add like little smoke bombs here and there. Maybe I just want him to be more of
Batman.
Batman.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I
yeah.
knew this day was coming. No, I agree, but at the same time, I like that we've seen it evolve over time. Like, we've seen him
Yeah,
add
yeah.
weapons to his arsenal over time and design weapons. So, like, I think he's getting to what you want. I don't know if it develops in the comics. Apparently, it doesn't, or he probably wouldn't be mentioning it.
Yeah.
But as far as the show goes, I think it's nice that we get to see that expansion of his arsenal. Because
Yeah.
at the beginning he didn't even like to fly on Appa or anything, did he? Like it's been a long time.
Uh,
Is he
I
scared of
mean,
flying on Appa right at first?
no, he wasn't scared. He just was skeptical of Appa.
But now he's a well traveled warrior.
Yeah, yeah. Which we didn't mention a couple of different new designs that we've seen for the first time. First of all, Appa armor, which I think looks really cool.
Yeah, they do a nice job on the Appa armor.
Yeah, it's interesting because Sokka was saying, "Hey, I'm busy making Appa armor," and before it looked like crap. It looked like it was a one-off joke almost. But I think that really paid off here. And then this is the first time we see Sokka with the wolf head garb and everything. I love that Sokka look.
It looks appropriately just a hair too big for him, but it still looks sharp. Again, I think that's what
Yeah,
they're going for, right? Like he's small, but he's ready.
yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Hakoda gets injured and and Katara has to heal him. He's like, I know I gotta go do it. So I have my best friend in college who binge watched Avatar with me. He like did not like Katara at all. I don't
Aww.
think. And like
Was he
this is
like
one of the
having girl
moments that he
problems at the
didn't.
time or something?
No, no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
he wasn't.
I was trying to be a psychotherapist there for a second.
But because in this moment, right, um, uh, Katara's like, um, Coda says like, but no, I need to lead the charge, and Katara says something like, I have to heal him, and Sokka says, I'll do it, and she's like, you're not the healing type, Sokka. Like, my friend was like, gosh, Katara's such a jerk. Like, why doesn't she clearly knows that's not what he means. Like, he did not like Katara at all. Which, for the record, I love Katara. I chose her as my bending master. I'm curious out there if anyone out there doesn't like Katara. I think that's a really small number of people who doesn't. I don't know anyone else who doesn't like Katara. I personally love her.
I'm very pro Katara. Absolutely, I'd have a hard time envisioning not liking her, but that's fine.
Yeah. But I do think she gets kind of atones in the next moment where Hakoda's like, I'm proud of you. And then Katara says, you're crazy, but I'm proud of you too. And then, so that was good making up for that moment. Which leads Sokka into fully leading the invasion, which if you look, like, there's a moment in it where he's just like strategizing with Bato, which I just love. I love that visual of a little kid. Like, Sokka's only 15 and he's strategizing with these adults, and because he's good at it. I want him to be more profound in his strategizing though. Like, maybe, gosh, I do just want to transform him into Batman. I don't think about him.
He's young. Like, he has time. He could still be.
But he's still probably the best tactician besides Iroh. But we don't really see Iroh's, like, we know that Iroh's a great tactician because of his military background.
But we don't really get like hard evidence in the show outside of glimpses,
comments from other people and stuff.
Or even like breaking out of prison, you can see the sort of scheming there, but it's not really a deep idea.
Yeah. So I do think that Sokka's probably Azula's a way, but never mind. Azula's a much better tactician.
Yeah, and she's driven by pure evil, which helps.
Yeah, but Sokka's definitely top 3 tacticians in the show. Especially I respect it here when it comes to like war and strategy, right? Like, he would be good at playing Risk.
I'd play Risk with Sokka. It'd be a good time.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I've never played Risk before. It sounds boring.
It's a long game, but I think there are reduced rules these days that you can pull from. It's okay.
I don't even like playing Monopoly. I've never finished a single game of Monopoly in my life. That sounds...
Gotta play Mario Monopoly. It speeds up the rules and adds your favorite Nintendo characters. Gotta try it. Yeah. And it gives them an excuse to sell you more stuff and accessories that you don't really need. Thanks, Nintendo.
So Aang comes back, and like I there's a moment there where someone is saying, like, Aang, you think Aang will be able to do it? And Katara says, like, Aang, well, he has to do it. To me, that was a moment that really showed that she was kind of solidified in her feelings. Like, that he has to do was more, I felt like it was more of like, he has to come back to me kind of a deal, and not a like, oh, he has to save the world kind of deal. Because later on he comes back, she's like, is that Aang? And then when he comes back, Sokka's like, please tell me the Fire Lord turned out to be a complete wuss and you beat him up. Yeah, wouldn't that be something?
That was a really big twist at the end. Like a Shyamalan twist. Like, yeah, he just cried and let me put him in cuffs. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah, super easy, barely inconvenience. Anyway, that's a...
there is the cool, well, I don't know about cool, but try to make it really dramatic when, like, Aang gets into the throne room. We were talking about it earlier. And Fire Lord's not in there, like, drops onto his knees and just straight up yelling. It's like, where are you, Ozai? And that's how I feel when I yell at video games. Like, I know it doesn't help, but, I still do it.
Yeah. So they come back, they re-up, they re-strategize. Katara stays behind to heal Hakoda, and Sokka, Aang, and Toph goes and finds Fire Lord Ozai. And I love how Aang's first thing is like, he's probably long gone. And Sokka, being smart, which I think is a great Sokka episode, he's like, no, I don't think he'll be gone. He wants to stay close where he can lead his people, but not too far away from action. There's probably something around here, maybe a secret bunker or something. They take Toph with them. Toph finds it. So just great Sokka utilizing, his knowledge and his instincts. He does say, like, my instincts tell me he'll be here, which is funny. You're kind of a callback to the
his
episode
instincts
Jet.
have gotten better over time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he was right about Jet too, to be fair, but in more of an asshole way.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was right, but he was being an asshole. So even as an anti-Jet person, I can say that.
Yeah. So then they find him. Well, no, they get to the door, which is directed very well. They get to the door, and they're like, "All right, finally, we're gonna go to it." And they open the door, and it's Azula. And then she's like, "Oh, one thing, great Azula episode too. Azula's just on her A game this episode." She's like, "I knew about the invasion for months," and it's like, "Oh man." Mm-hmm.
Such a snob, Azula. Do not be like this.
And then they mirror that with the other side of it, of Zuko opening the door, and he knows where he's going. He goes to talk to his father, and so we'll just take this time to talk about the greatness of this scene, which is one of the best. I forgot where we ranked it at.
Right? Yeah, we've rolled into part 2 now, though, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Part 2, the eclipse. Featuring one of our top 10 moments in all of Avatar.
Yeah, I forgot which moment it was. It was like in the top 5, I think. I feel like I should look it up.
3 or 4. Okay. I want to say 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure I could look back at our messages. I think it was like 3 or 4. But Zuko, maybe it was 2.
No, Toph, Sokka hanging on to Toph. I think we left that one at 2.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was really up there.
It was really high. Anyway, Zuko confronts his father, which is just a great scene. I don't know how much more to say about it than we said in the episode, but to reiterate, he says like, "I'm here to tell the truth," and he's like, "Telling the truth in the middle of an eclipse. This should be interesting." And first off, he says, and Boss saying it was Azula who shot down the Avatar, not me. And he's like, "Well, why would Azula lie about that?" "Because Avatar's not dead. He's probably leading this invasion." And he's like, "Get out!" Mm-hmm. And I love how Zuko's like, "No, think again." And he like takes his swords out. I just love that moment of him taking his swords out and doing that quick, like, "No, you're gonna listen to me."
It's the Leonardo like. Whoosh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like I just love this moment. It's just Zuko finally standing up to his father. Like this is the end of his it's the climax of his arc, really, because there's no going back after this. Sure, he has more story to tell, but this is him coming full circle, finally facing his father again. Like, man, I just love those moments of just of people confronting their abusers, which is a great job here.
The moment Shawn's been waiting for 2.5 seasons before he finally tries really hard to develop more feelings for Zuko. Good work, buddy. Kept me waiting long enough. I really thought it was gonna be at the end of season 2. I was all in on that boat, and then we wouldn't have had to have this stupid beach episode.
It's a great episode.
Iroh would not have had to be in jail. So much better stuff could have happened. Whatever, it's fine. But
nah, I think it worked out for the better because we wouldn't have gotten this moment. Zuko wouldn't have gotten what he thought he wanted. And yeah, in this confrontation, it's so good. And even after it all, he tells him like, "I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna join the Avatar, and I'm breaking Uncle out." It's like, Zuko tells him like the moment I love most, is when Zuko. I say that, but I love a lot of the moments a lot equally. Zuko says like, "You, my father, challenge me just for speaking out of term. What you did was cruel. Like, it was to teach you a lesson. No." It's like, just such good dialogue going on there, which I'm kind of butchering at the moment, but everyone gets the gist.
It's a pretty long, for like not cutting away to any other parts, it's a pretty long chunk of the episode. Like, it's a solid 3-ish minutes of dialogue back and forth through the whole thing. So it definitely is the focal point. You can just about say this whole episode just based on the amount of time that's given to it in a single slice, in a contiguous slice.
Yeah. And then Zuko's like finally ready to go. He's like, "Goodbye." He's like, "Coward, you only only tell me during the eclipse, which is funny because that I love how that being called a coward does not rile Zuko up at all because he knows his father's words don't mean anything. But when he's like, don't you want to know what happened to your mother? Like that, Zuko wants to know. Like Zuko will risk.
That's
Yeah,
Ozai. That's the Azula, the inner Azula coming
yeah,
out there.
yeah, definitely.
You cruel bastard.
Um, and Ozai tells Zuko what happened, and we mentioned this in the top 10 moments, when he mentions like how Ursa was banished and she's not dead, like Zuko cries and in both eyes, which you rarely ever see. This is the first time he's ever cried in that burnt eye. And then, of course, the firebending comes back on, and as it comes back on, Ozai's like, but now I know that banishment's far too merciful a punishment. Yours will be more severe. And then the double lightning bend. And at that moment, you kind of think, holy crap, Zuko's about to get knocked out or killed or something. And he redirects it at him, and he's gone. Absolute great moment.
Not just it's so when I was scared to have the moment in the top 10 because I knew I'd forget and not do it good justice. So watching it again here though, a couple things that you probably mentioned in the top 10 episode after I did the original introduction to the moment. But like first of all, yeah, he like blasts him into a wall. It's not like he redirects it off sideways or the Ozai ducks it or something. Like no, he like blasts him straight back into the wall. The crying in both eyes, something I never would have picked up on. But even with all that stuff going, just the finality of him finally getting to confront his dad and be, like truly point of no return for him. 100% good guy. He's all in on it now and totally on his own merits. All those things like by themselves, you could have even skipped most of the mom moments and still left this moment. Like it still probably would have been in our top 10, I think. So
Yeah,
there's a whole lot going on here. There's a roller coaster of a few minutes.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, and on the flip side of that, Azula is. I love how right there um, they need to interrogate Azula for information on where Ozai is at so they can fight him. But because they only have a limited time before the eclipse is over, which we haven't mentioned yet, but the eclipse takes away the Fire Nation's fire bending, which everyone knows that. But in it, Azula's like,
if you've made it an hour into this podcast, this far into our whole podcast series, they probably know.
Yeah, you probably knew that.
What if we just dropped a bomb on somebody's like, what?
Yeah. They're interrogating her, and Toph says, and stick to the truth. I'll be able to tell if you're lying. And then Azula's like, really? I'm a very good liar. I am 100-foot tall platypus bear with pink feathers and pink wings and pink horns and whatever and pink wings. And like Toph can't tell the difference. And then she's like, all right, I admit you're good. And then she, I love how Toph one thing admits that
and
she's
the look on Toph's
lying.
face too is like, oh crap. All right, fine.
Yeah. Like, all right, I admit you're good. And then she earth bends her into like this encasing. But you might want to tell the truth anyway. And like at that moment, the earth shatters from her, which my dumb mind was like, how did she do this? Like, which I guess that's to their credit. That's the effect that they were going for, because you don't see the Dai Li agents, and the Dai Li agents come from the top.
I'm kind of upset at this point that the Dai Li are still around. Like they can't possibly believe that when all this is done, like, oh, they'll probably keep us around. No, that's not how.
Yeah, I mean, Dai Li agents, they just follow power, right?
I know, but
there's nothing really to compare them to. I mean, they're a powerful force that's just like, we just need a leader. Just tell us what to do, leader. We don't care who it is.
I'm kind of mad that they're still around, but whatever.
I mean, they're still around in Legend of Korra too. So
true. Damn it, Kyoshi.
Yeah, Kyoshi. That's their one.
That
one
knocks
I mean,
you down a peg on our
coming.
list.
But
she couldn't have. She probably did the right thing at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So they have a really cool non-fight with Azula, which Azula's just so freaking capable. Like she just somersaults around them keeps from getting hit, even though she doesn't have fire bending. And even Aang, who's like really agile, can't pin her down. And they're fighting the Dai Li agents at the same time. Toph is taking them out. Really good fighting there, mostly between Toph and the Dai Li agents, because Aang is just blowing air at them, which looks kind of silly when they put up that wall. and finally, I love how Sokka is just like, "Hey guys, stop!" And like Azula also stops, which is funny to me, but also just like great Azula because she's just calculating like, "Oh no, I can't keep running. I have to stay here because my job is just distract them." And Sokka says like, "She's just trying to distract us. Like we got to get to the Fire Lord." And then Toph says something like, "You're just trying to keep us here." And then Azula's like, "Yeah, that's what your friend said, idiot. And if you can't see, I'm rolling my eyes right now." Like, holy, she cut so deep.
Man,
like,
you're gonna come at a blind girl like that? That's not very nice.
Yeah, like that's a real deep joke there. Like it's harsh, but it's Azula, and so you expect it.
I still, I've always felt that Azula in this episode kind of adds to that. It's like she's a little OP. I don't know, like just because you be firebending, great at firebending because you have the utmost training, in your princess, and I get it, but like nobody's as good at everything as Azula is. So it's one of my few qualms with her as a villain is I think she is a little OP, but I suppose it is compensated for with her, like, with her madness, I guess.
Yeah,
that is her
downfall. It's a perfect
hubris and madness.
To me, she has to be OP to start off with, especially compared to where she ends up at. Like it's her pride that gets in her way, and like you said, in her hubris. That really was her downfall. Like she thought she was the biggest, baddest, smartest, prettiest thing, and nothing could stop her. And when all those things crumbled, like her psyche began to crack.
And it'll probably, I'll have more appreciation for it through the comics, but just something that I feel and have felt throughout the series is like just a hair OP. But at least when it's culminating here, we're in book 3. Like she has some progression too. It's not like she's bending lightning from the very beginning or anything. So she has some progression of skills and abilities.
You do see her training, and I think that's really important, which the creators try to emphasize this all the time, that like everything is earned, right? Like no matter how like Azula she is naturally talented, but like she has to train at these things. She isn't OP. She had to train. She had to be perfect. She has to strive for perfection. So they do kind of a good job of that.
I agree.
Yeah, so they keep fighting, and they start to leave, and at this moment Azula's like, "Oh, Sokka was your name. My favorite prisoner used to tell me about you. She used to think that you'll come and save her, but then she lost hope or something," which is weird. Sokka doesn't know that Suki was captured. I think in retrospect she kind of fits that a little bit. I mean, it's safe for him to assume that, like, what did you do with Suki? But he just says, like, where is Suki? I guess it's fine. I'm completely nitpicking here, but it just kind of seems like Sokka already knows that something might have happened to Suki. I guess I would have just liked there to be a hint that something happened to... Wait, maybe he should guess that, though, because Kyoshi Ward is dressed as them. Okay, I'm fine with it. Or they dressed as the Kyoshi Warriors.
You're allowed to talk yourself through that. That's fine.
I completely talked myself through that.
Good. I hope you keep feeling better.
Yeah. Yeah, so then Sokka charges at her, and I love this. Does he... I felt like he takes his sword and puts it to Azula's throat.
Yeah, he does.
And that's so freaking mature. I just kind of brush it
off in the severity of the whole episode, but yeah, he's like...
Yeah.
Oh, what a jerk.
And Azula was ready to kill him. Like, she was like, "Come here, the big fella." Why do I think she said big fella? Big boy?
That doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right. But she says something
but
to the
sentiment
effect, like,
is there. It's very taunting, whatever she says.
Like, she like gets a blade from her, just from her sleeve, which is like May's blades, and like she's ready to kill Sokka, and Toph sees it and she stops it. Which it's all done in like one really nice, swift motion. Like the three of their actions are done. So really great directing by Giancarlo Volpe. Um,
Good taco moment here, probably. I don't know.
Maybe. Although at this point, Sokka is really worried about Suki, so maybe not.
Maybe not.
Um,
Yeah, fair point.
yeah.
I
So
don't know,
like he just
sticking up for
Sokka just
Toph
keeps
in an
on.
episode where not a lot goes her way.
Yeah. So Sokka just keeps on arguing Azula, and she's fairly silent. And like she waits, she's like, and the firebending comes back on, which they do a great job of mirroring uh, Azula's manipulation with Ozai's, as they show them both as just like father-like daughter type of deal. And then the firebending comes back. She's like, "Oh, seems like the firebending's back on," as if it's like the electric is back
Where you just
on, like a
flip
switch
the
has been
switch,
hit. Yeah. And then she just like firebends out of it, and then she tells him like, "Hey, Dad." She specifically says Dad, which just sounds funny to me. Dad is all the way down the hall to the left, something like that. I'm sure he'll be glad to face you now. That's so good. Azula right there.
Azula, what a jerk.
Yeah.
I hate love you. Or love hate. Well, I don't know, whichever makes more sense.
Yeah. Which to me, at that point, is kind of the crux of the episode. After that, things are dire. It's like, all right, they gotta retreat. Aang says like, no, I can face them, and they're like, no, it's fine. Like we thought we had the element of surprise on our hand, but no, we didn't. Azula knew we were coming.
And at this point, in the original watch through, I'm like freaking out, and Aang's like, no, I'm still going in there. Like, he's kind of adamant, and I'm like, Aang, stop it. You don't even know how to firebend. You can't go in the Avatar state. He's going to whoop. He didn't. It's fine. But I remember being quite excited. In a bad way. Yeah. Anxious. Quite anxious.
Yeah. So they go back. They come back with the group. They try to retreat. They show the Fire Nation now has like war balloons, not just like war blimps, airships. They've taken the Mechanist machines to the next level, and they go and bomb all their ships so they can't get away, which is again great strategy on the Fire Nation's part. Don't know who did it, but whatever. Which this moment is, as they retreat, it's a really somber moment. To me, it's weirdly enough, it's more of a somber moment than at the end of book 2 when Aang gets shot down, because this seems like, all right, we had a chance here, guys. Like this is our best chance at defeating the Fire Nation, and we fell really short. Like, well, they didn't. They said like this is the closest we got to victory, and that counts for something. That's what Hakoda says. But still, it felt like this was like all their chips being put in, and and Aang is like crying about it, which I love when our main characters
preparing.
Yeah, I love when our main characters can be very vulnerable. Like, when do you ever see someone crying about losing a fight? Right? You don't see that often, which I think really reflects real world. Like you see in March Madness tournaments, right? When these these are young men, when they lose a game, like a lot of them cry at the end. I completely understand that. Like you might think, oh, it's a game and stuff, but you lost something that was very important to you.
Man, this year they didn't get a chance to cry.
Yeah, I know for Aang. I know for Aang, it's within the context of the show, it means a lot more. But it's just really interesting to see the world's most powerful person cry because they didn't win the day. They didn't win the match. So just great character building for Aang. And Katara is right there. Like, I love the look that she gives him. She's like the kind of look of, I'm glad you're feeling this way, and I'm really proud of you. And I'm really proud that you feel this adamant about this. And like Aang gives a nice speech like, guys, we will. And this is one of Aang's only speeches really to like a large crowd. Like, I'll make this up to you. And I want to see more of that. I want to see Aang being more proactive, being more of that leader. But yeah.
I think the spray paint in my hair is making my eyes water. Also, it's a really emotional moment. You could just take it as I was getting emotional, but it might also be the spray paint. So, yeah, I think the best analogy, having all the chips on the table, and a big chunk of the invasion force is taken like in prison. So all your chips on the table, and not hope of like all your resources, I guess, all of your human resources, pretty much locked up behind bars, and they don't know that Zuko and spoiler alert, Iroh are going to come to their aid. Like, they don't have that knowledge yet. So to them, it really is kind of a last straw, or it's supposed to feel that way, and it does in that exact moment, at least.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, what adds more to the moment, that I think, is why I think it's more somber than Crossroads of Destiny. Is like Katara and Sokka have to say bye to their father again. Like, and this time he's being captured by the Fire Nation. So they did a really good job. I just really love that moment a lot.
Yeah, this isn't like he's going away and maybe not coming back. This is like, you're going away from him, and he's not getting out of there unless you go back. That's it. So, yeah. But we do have some good news. There's a good side to the end of this episode, and that is Iroh finally making his escape.
Would you have liked to see him escape, or is it better in your imagination?
Much better in my imagination in this case. Okay. I like, because it's Iroh, and because there's sort of an air of mystery to some of like the extent of his power anyway, I like keeping some of that under wraps. If it was Admiral or General or Colonel Zhao or whatever the hell his name is, you want to be like, all right, come on, how'd he do that? And then it'd be some like cheap bribe or something stupid. But since it's Iroh, I like that mystery.
Yeah. Also, we don't need to know how Iroh broke out. We already knew that Iroh could break out.
We knew as soon as we saw him doing push-ups. We're like, oh yeah, he's getting out of there. Like, no way that guy's spending the rest of the season behind bars voluntarily. So, I think it was handled. I don't want to say masterfully because there wasn't much to it, but you like the setup. And they also know it's coming.
Yeah, they also do a good job of Zuko asking the prison guard who was taunting Iroh that whole time. Like, Zuko's like, where is my uncle? And the guy just like, he looks dumbfounded. He's like, he was like a one-man army. He bust out of here.
And you're like,
yeah. Yeah.
But he didn't kill those people, I don't think. He did Batman it. He didn't kill those people.
Nah.
Good job, Iroh.
So episode ends with some of the minor team Avatar and some of the other minor characters who are like more so kids getting on ATLA and flying away after losing a huge battle. And then Zuko following them in a war balloon.
And it doesn't... Do they make a comment about his war balloon right away, or no? They don't. They don't.
No,
see
they
him
don't.
Yet.
They don't know. They don't even know that Zuko. They don't know what the heck he is doing.
That's right. Yeah. Well, and then that's it. That's the whole day of Black Sun, and 2-part episode that we felt merited being scored and rated together. So just one set of ratings. I think they kind of necessitate each other. So good decision, I think. Chris, would you care to start with your ratings?
Yeah, audio-visual gets a 9. I think there was there's some great music in this episode, especially with the battle. Some great fight scenes. The lightning bending alone was fantastic. So a 9 on there. Story 9.5. There's just so much good Sokka, good Azula stuff in there, and especially good Zuko stuff. I mean, this is, like I said before, this is the climax of his character arc, which is... I'm surprised I didn't give this a 10. I mean, granted, it was like 5 minutes of the whole episode. But
if they had managed to stuff it into one episode instead of 2, then you'd have given it a 10. This is like the what do you call it? The demerit for taking place across 2 episodes.
Yeah. Memorable gets a 9.5. I mean, it has one of the best moments in the show, of course. It gets a 9.5, which makes me question what the heck gets a 10. I don't know. I'm good with it. Yeah, I'm good with this because, again, it would get 10 if I was just thinking about the second episode, but combining them both, there's not as much memorable things I think in that first episode.
Well spoken. Well spoken.
So 9.3 out of 10, which is a really great score.
That's stellar. So I really do throw them all three out real quick because I really did try to weigh it against. They do have extra time to work with, and so I try to look back and see the other episodes that I really liked and think what they did in 20 minutes versus 40. Long story short, audiovisual, there's a ton of great stuff that happened. I do think the story is the best part of this episode because it tells a really good big story of an invasion in grand detail. It's got a lot of moving pieces and parts. Extremely key. Like, I could have gone higher. I almost had myself talked into going a little higher on story. And then memorable. I probably have time like splitting the episodes, understanding what happens and what one. But I know that I like the one where Iroh breaks out and Zuko confronts Ozai. Is obviously the more interesting of the two. So 8.7, tremendous episode. That rounds out to a beautiful 9. No qualms there. That's gonna rank really highly on our overall scale at a quick glance through the rest of the spreadsheet. Very highly. So that being said, tremendous episode. Go watch it. Or don't until you get to that point because you need to know all of the other stuff before you get to this episode. Next week, we are going to attempt to do what we wanted to do this week. I'll save it for a surprise because I don't want to agree to it and then not be able to do it. But hopefully we can get to it next week instead. But that's okay because this was still fun and my wife was really proud of her sewing work. Even if the yellow, don't buy yellow hairspray because if you have brunette hair, because it does not work. So, Chris, thanks for joining me. Any final thoughts? Final commentary?
No, let us know what you all think. If you're listening and watching this, leave a review. Thank you all for reviewing. Thank you all for checking out the channel and subscribing and checking out the podcast and everything. And that's it.
While we are all sort of trapped inside our own homes, I'm going to make it my personal goal to go find out and listen to, I've listened to a little bit of the Arrow, and there are dozens of other good Avatar podcasts or like adjacent podcasts.
Are there dozens?
I would say there's at least a dozen reputable ones on Spotify. I get my podcasts on Spotify. So if you go throw it in there, you're going to get a dozen, I think, give or take. I don't know how many of those are reputable, though, I suppose.
I don't know how many are currently going. I think there's a good
that's true, like
that are
live
currently
and
going.
active.
There's a Beyond Bending. Well, I don't know why I'm commenting, why I'm advertising them.
They're probably great. Yeah, why not?
Beyond Bending, Avatar State, Yep, the Arrow, Portal Cast, I think.
Those all sound like ones that come up on Spotify for sure. But I'm working from home, and the benefit of that is I can just kind of have something playing on the TV in the background the entire time. So making it my personal mission to use that time to enjoy other people's Avatar content.
I am off for the next 2 weeks doing nothing because I can't work from home. I just get the 2 weeks off. So
my wife's dad is in a similar boat. He has a government job as well, and it's the same thing where it's like, all right, we can't let you work from home, but you have to go home now. So, but
I do get paid, so that's good.
Spend some family time, watch the kids. Does your
they're doing work.
They're gonna learn something while they're home.
Yes, definitely.
I think my favorite idea that I've seen so far is like people using the time to teach them like home ec stuff because you're at home, like teach them to do the laundry, teach them to cook, do taxes, checkbook. Your kid's a little young for that, but get the foundations of those things. So, enjoy your 2 weeks at home. Hopefully you get some videos made in the next couple of weeks. And I will talk to you next week. Hopefully we get to do something big. Looking forward to it.
Ditto.